Now, our country is one of the most unsafe places in the world to be a woman, with the SAPS crime statistics for the first 3 months of 2023 showing that more than 1,500 women were raped and 969 killed. In 2018, the first presidential summit on gender-based violence and femicide was held with delegates comprising victims of gender-based violence, civil society organizations and government. The summit saw a landmark declaration signed comprising key interventions that needed urgent attention that would result in the launch of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide in 2020 by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Now, the plan was anchored by 5 key interventions to be implemented, which included urgently responding to victims and survivors of gender-based violence, as well as broadening access to justice for survivors. But have these interventions been successfully implemented, and how has this plan been instrumental in the fight against gender-based violence? So to help us discuss this and find out more this morning, we are joined by the Director for WISE Africa, that is Advocate Brenda Madumise-Pajibo, as well as Nomangwane Mrwetyana, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation. Ladies, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning, and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Morning, Sakina, and good morning to the viewers of SABC and Morning Live.
Advocate Madumise-Pajibo, I believe we're struggling with that line, so we'll park that for the moment. But just coming to you, Nomangwane, and you know, when I saw your name on the handover yesterday, again, it just brought back, you know, such sad memories of what happened to your daughter, Uyinene, her passing in 2019. And that really gripped the country and the world. And her murder was instrumental in changing the country's response to gender-based violence, along with some others. But this month marks 4 years since her passing. How are you coping?
Yeah.
And how's the family coping and remembering her?
Good morning, Sakina. Yes, this is the 4th year since the passing of Uyinene. As a family, we are really using the foundation as a healing tool of vehicle in order to deal with this pain, whereby the month of August, which is supposed to be a month where women are celebrating their existence and their being, has been turned by men or perpetrators of gender-based violence into a month where there is sorrow and pain, and it's quite disheartening. And probably that is an understatement. Probably we can say it's totally disgusting that they have taken away this month from us to turn it into a month of sorrow and pain. As a family, we are really continuing with the legacy, you know, of Uyinene by commemorating her in ways whereby we educate the communities, whereby we continue to raise awareness about gender-based violence, and to ensure that we prevent this scourge from continuing as it is continuing, so that no other family can experience what we experienced as a family. And this year specifically, Sakina, we are commemorating the life of Uyinene and all victims of gender-based violence by hosting a gender-based violence walk in honor of Uyinene and other victims in East London on the 19th of August, and in Cape Town on the 26th of August. And I do want to say, Sakina, that the Cape Town one will be very significant and symbolic of the journey that Uyinene took to that Claridge post office. We will take a walk from her residence and take that walk that she took on the 8th of August with a friend to the Claridge post office to raise awareness, to call upon men to be at the forefront and to be part of the solution in the fight against gender-based violence. And we feel as a family and the foundation that when men continue to be bystanders, they become part of the problem, or they become part of perpetuating this scourge of gender-based violence. So really, that's how we are coping. I mean, we're really using the foundation as a healing vehicle, as a way to continue with the fight against gender-based violence. And we really call upon men to come to the party. They must take a leading role, because as you asked it, the general question, as a country, are we doing enough? As you have just mentioned the statistics, and it does indicate that we are fighting a fight that we are not winning, and it is quite sometimes discouraging, but we are not going to stop. The burden must not always be upon women. Men must really come to the party in order to become part of the solution.
So if we look, Nomangwane, at the response to gender-based violence following that summit, where do you think, apart from, as you say, a greater involvement from men, where else are we falling short in our response to this scourge?
My personal view around that is that it looks like, for me, we tend as a country to not take the individual responsibility and the individual activism, which is also something that we are really pushing. And also, if you look at the various role players that are supposed to be part of the solution, that is your law enforcement system, your justice system, government entities, the private sector, civic organizations, communities, families. I feel like as long as we continue to work in silos, we'll keep on blaming each other. And that's why part of the work this year is this theme is for us to come together and unite against this scourge of gender-based violence. And the big question, we need to introspect. A law enforcement officer must ask themselves, are we doing enough to keep our communities safe? Do we do justice when women come and report these cases to them? Don't we continue to re-traumatize them? And we need to look at the justice system. I mean, if you look at the example of the case of Nostelo, I mean, I'm still appalled by a sentence of just, if I remember, I think 13 years. If after someone had confessed to having committed the crime, and this child was killed in a very brutal manner. So we need to ask, is the justice system doing enough? Yes, there are pockets whereby you feel like, oh, okay, look at the case of Gerard Ackerman. I must say, as a foundation, there can never be an enough sentence, but we welcome, at least I think this sentence is really sending a message. And we would like to see more of tougher sentences against, the perpetrators of gender-based violence. I feel like we need to just come together as a society, all the role players, so that we can send a very strong message to these perpetrators that we totally condemn. They must stop it. They must stop it. It must come to an end. And each role player must play its role. Government must play its role. The private sector must play their role. Law enforcement officers, the justice system, if I may name a few, and individual, activism in every corner. We need to start, dealing with these small pockets of acts that perpetuate this patriarchal culture and gender-based violence against women and men. I mean, against men and women and children, rather.
Well, Nomangwane, just very briefly, we are out of time. Just in terms of the walks that you were talking about in East London and Cape Town, just very briefly, if people wanted to participate, how do they get those details? Where can they go?
They can go to our website, the Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation website. There is a link there. They can join there. Also, they can also call our offices in East London. And we say, please come all. let's put our hands together. Let's ensure that we bring, this crime to an end. Let's raise awareness. And after that, what is important, let's go back and do things differently. Impact and activism and action is very important. Raising awareness is the start, but what we do on a daily basis is very important. Call our officers, join and if you can't join via the link, it's fine. You can just show up at any venue. These are open events to anyone. There is no limit at all.
Well, Nomangwane, thank you so much for speaking to us. Thanks for the work you do. And again, unfortunately, it was your daughter. It could have been anyone of our children. And, our hearts and souls with you and the family as you continue on this healing journey. But of course, if you would like to join in that walk, it's 4 years since that brutal murder of Uyinene Mrwetyana. You can join the walks in East London and Cape Town. Go onto the website or call the office. And that was Uyinene's mother, Nomangwane Mrwetyana, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation, just talking to us about some of the interventions, as well as whether we are actually winning this fight against gender-based violence.